Hi, welcome to Math Grade 6, Module 5, Lesson 4, the area of all triangles, using height and base. For today, you will need your Lesson 4 problem set, and I will be helping you with questions 4 and 8. So if you're ready, let's get started with number 4. Number 4 wants us to calculate the area of each figure. Okay, so we're going to calculate the area of each figure. To find the area of this whole shape, we have to break it up into finding the area of each triangle and then the rectangle. And when we have areas of those four, then we can add them together to get our total area. So let's start by labeling each part. Let's have this part is triangle A, and the triangle A is this piece right here. So that would be triangle A. The next to it, we have a rectangle. We're going to label that area B. And then next to it, we have this also is another triangle. We're going to make this triangle C. And we have one more triangle at the top, this larger triangle. This larger triangle is going to be letter D. Okay, so we have 4 parts to solve. So let's start with part A. Our formula for area is 1/2 the base times the height. So for section A, that's this triangle, our area is 1/2 the base. So if we come over to our picture, our base is 5 meters and our height is 12 meters. So our formula tells us to do 1/2 of 5 times 12. 5 times 12 is 60. I'm going to put the 60 over 1. So now I'm left with numerator times numerator. 1 times 60, denominator times denominator, 2 times 1. I have 60 over 2. And when I divide 60 by 2, 2 fits into 6 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Bring down the 0. 2 goes into 0, 0 times. 2 times 0 is 0. So 60 halves is equal to 30. So our area for this first triangle is 30 meters cubed. So there's area A. Now we're going to find the area for section B. Now for section B, we're not going to use the formula area equals 1/2 the base times the height, because this is not a triangle, it's a rectangle. And our area for a rectangle is length times width. So in order to find my area for my rectangle, I'm going to have 19 times our length, and our width is 12. So I'm going to go over here to the side and do 19 times 12. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Get rid of these, we're done with those. Second row starts with your 0, because you're starting in the tens place. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. We add them up. 8 and 0 is 8. 3 plus 9 is 12. Carry my 1. 1 and 1 is 2. So I ended up with my area for B is 228 meters squared. So there is my area for the rectangle. Now for letter C, my area for this triangle. If you notice, my base was 5, my base is 5, my height is 12, my height is 12. So this triangle is exactly the same as triangle A. So if A was 30 meters squared, so would the area for letter C. So I am going to just write down that letter C is exactly the same as letter A. So that would be 30 meters squared. That is our area for letter C. And then for our area for letter D. Letter D, our formula says it's 1/2 our base. Now this one's a little tricky because our base is this whole part. We have 5 right here. We have, if this is 19, then this is 19. So this is 5, this is 19, and this piece is 5. So my base on this one, I have to add 5 plus 5 is 10, and 10 plus my 19, that gives me 29. So my base for this triangle is 29. So I'm going to put 29 meters. And my height, over here on my dotted line, my height was 7 meters. So now what's left for us to do is our calculation. We're going to do 29 times 7. 9 times 7 is 63. Carry my 6. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 6 is 20. So I have 203. So I'm going to have 1/2 times, we did 29 times 7 was 203. I'm going to put that over 1, so I have fraction times numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So that's going to leave me with 1 times 203 is 203. 1 times 2 is 2. So now I have 203 divided by 2. So let's do that off to the side. Let me put it over here. We have 203. 203 divided by 2. 2 goes into 2 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus 2, 0. Bring down the next number. 2 fits into 0 0 times. 2 times 0 is 0. Bring down the next number. 0 minus 0 was 0. Bring down the 3. 2 fits into 3 once. 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract. We're going to add a decimal here. And x is 0. Bring that down. 2 fits into 10. Don't forget your decimal in your answer. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 5 times 2 is 10. So when we divided 203 divided by 2, we ended up with 101 and 5/10, and that would be meters squared. So this is our area for letter D. So now what we need to do to find the area of this whole figure, we need to add our area A, B, C, and D. So I am going to add A was 30 meters, B was 228 meters, And C was also 30 meters. So let's add those three first. 8 plus 0 is 8. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3, 8. 2 plus nothing is 2. And now we also have to add part D. And part D is a decimal. I have 101.5. So since I have the decimal, I'm going to put that first. I'm going to bring over my 288. And remember, a whole number has a decimal at the end. Now I can go ahead and add. 5 plus 0 is 5. 1 plus 8 is 9. 0 plus 8 is 8. And 2 plus 1 is 3. Decimal in your answer. So our answer turns out to be total area was 389 5/10 meters squared. That's my total area. You had to do all of those parts to figure out the total. Okay? That was question number 4. Now let's move on to question number 8. Okay, number 8 says, the larger triangle below has a base of 10 meters. And the gray triangle has an area of 40 and 325 thousandths of a meter. So that is what we were given. So let's take a look. It says determine the area of the larger triangle if the height is 12 2/10. So for the first part, it's telling us that this larger triangle, this part right here, has a base of 10 14/100 of a meter. The gray triangle has an area, that's just this section right here. This part is 40 and 325 thousandths of a meter. But part A wants us to determine the area of the larger triangle. So that means they want us to figure out what this area is, this whole triangle. And they're telling us that the height is 12 2/10. So this height is 12.2. All right, so we're going to use our formula for area. Area is 1/2 the base times the height. So area is 1/2. Well, they told us that our base, right down here, is 10 14/100. And our height, which was given to us in the problem, is 12 2/10. So now all that's left for us to do is the calculation. I'm going to have to do 10 and 10/14. So 10 14/100 times 12 2/10. So I'm going to go ahead and solve. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, I'm done with that. I'm going to move on to the tenths place, so I start with 1 0. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, so I am done with the second row. I'm going to get rid of the 2. My third row is in a hundreds place, so I need 2 zeros. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 0 is 0. And 1 times 1 is 1. We're going to add all of those up. 8 plus 0, 8. 2 plus 8 is 10. Carry my 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 plus 4 is 7. 2 plus 1 is 3. 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus nothing is 1. Now I have 2 places here, 1 place here, for a total of 1, 2, 3 places. So I'm going to push it back 3, 1, 2, 3. So I ended up with 1 half. And when I multiplied the base times the height, I ended up with 123 and 708 thousandths. I'm going to put that over a 1. So now I'm left with numerator times numerator, which is 123 and 708 thousandths. 2 times 1 is 2. So now I have to go ahead and divide the 123 and 708 thousandths. I'm going to put it on here to show you. 123 and 708 thousandths divided by 2. 2 does not fit into 1, but 2 does fit into 12. 2 fits into 12 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Bring down the next number. 2 fits into 3 once. 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract 3 minus 2. Bring down my next number. 2 fits into 17. 2 fits into 17 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. 7 minus 6 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Bring down my next number. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. And then bring down my last number. 2 goes into 8 4 times. And 4 times 2 is 8. So when I'm done dividing here, my area was equal to 61 and 854 meters cubed, squared. So that's my area for the whole triangle. Okay, so that is part A. Now part B. Part B wants us to figure out they're going to let this unshaded white section, they want us to label that part A. That's the unshaded white section. They want us to write and solve an equation to determine the value of A using the area of the large triangle and the gray triangle. So we just figured out in part A that the area of this whole triangle was 61 and 854 meters squared. We just figured that out in part A. That whole orange triangle, the whole outside, is that big. So knowing that, how can we solve for letter A? Well, if we add the two pieces, the two areas on the inside, the two triangles, that would give us the whole area. So by adding these two parts, we could get to the whole, but we don't know what that is. So our equation would look like this. What we do know is that the gray plus the white, so we're going to put down the 40 and 325. And we also know that if we added this part to it, that would give us the whole area, which we found out in part A was 61 and 854 thousandths of a meter squared. So this is our equation. We add these two parts together, they'll give us the whole thing. So now we need to isolate the variable. And in order to isolate the variable, we have to get rid of the number on that same side so that the variable will be isolated by itself. So how do we do that? We have to do that by using the opposite operation. So the opposite operation of addition is subtraction, and because we're going to subtract on this side, whatever we do to the one side of the equation, we have to do to the other. So the opposite of adding is subtracting, so I'm going to subtract this number. And I'm also going to subtract it from this side, because whatever you do to the one, you have to do to the other. So let's go ahead. If I subtract 40 and 325 thousandths from 40 and 325 thousandths, these two will cancel each other out, which leaves me with A, the variable by itself. And on this side, I have to do the same thing. I can't subtract 5 from 4, so I go next door. I'm going to unbundle the 5. It's going to turn into a 4. Push over the 10. So 10 plus the 4 makes that a 14. So now I have 14 take away 5 is 9. 4 take away 2 is 2. 8 take away 3 is 5. Decimal. 1 take away 0 is 1. 6 take away 4 is 2. So my area for this missing piece will be 21 and 529 thousandths meters squared. So that's how we found A by adding these two pieces together to give us the whole thing. I hope this helped you. Please complete the exit ticket for lesson 4, then take a picture of it, send it to your teacher so that we can see how you're doing. Thanks for listening. Bye.